Okay, so we're doing this. Hello everyone, my name is Gemma and welcome to my WiP Walk of Shame. Hello, how are you? Something I'm asked quite a lot and have been asked quite a lot over the years is how many WIPs or works in progress do I have going at any one time? We're getting to that time of year towards the end of the year and I'm starting to look back on my year of making. According to Ravelry, which I have actually been using pretty well this year, Ravelry, if you're not familiar, is a database for knitters, crocheters, makers to log their projects. I'm historically really bad at that, but this year I've done all right. According to Ravelry, I have finished 39 projects this year, of which approximately 3 were carryovers from my works in progress in previous years. So I thought it was time that I faced the music, got my WIPs out and invited you to join me on a WiP Walk of Shame as I decide what to continue with, what to send to the frog pond and rip back. If you're not familiar, frogging a project in knitting or crochet is because you rip it back, rip it back, rip it back, rip it, rip it, rip it, hence frog. So what I'm going to send to the frog pond and what I'm going to try and carry forward and what I'm going to finish in what order. So yeah, this is the question that everyone always wants the answer to with me. To give you a little bit of context, I can have anywhere between say 6, I think was my fewest number of WIPs, and 50 was the most I ever had going. Now, some people categorise these differently. Some people say that they have active WIPs, active works in progress, that they're consistently within a 2-week period been working on, and then they have UFOs, unfinished objects, which are ones that have been languishing for a while. Because of the nature of the way in which I craft, where I kind of dip in and out of lots of things, none of them ever really become UFOs. And I think in my head also I'm still working on them. Even if I'm not physically touching them, I'm thinking about them and possibly working on them as well. So you see the mess behind me. Let's dive in and start going through the bags. Oh, just before we do, hit pause in a second and drop a comment for me at this point in the video before we started. How many works in progress do you think I've got going on behind me here? 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, you're going to want to add 2 to your total because I just remembered 2 that I'd forgotten. So for this video, I've been all around the house gathering all the works in progress that I can find. This includes the bag in the lounge, my lounge crafting, the bag beside my bed for if I want to do a few stitches before I go to sleep, my dog walk knitting, my bag in my husband's office for if we're hanging out and I need something to work on there, and going through the big tote boxes that I've got which have some works in progress in. It also includes going through a new unit that I bought. My husband suggested I could keep all my yarn in it, which when I picked myself up off the floor from laughing, we thought actually what I could do is put my works in progress in it. And it was at the point where I couldn't fit all my works in progress in this unit that I thought it might be time to take stock and have a little look. So I hope you have a cup of something to sip on. My beverage of choice today is a coffee. I am still suffering with this cold. I'm actually seeing the doctor shortly, hopefully after I finish this. And so I do apologise for any ambient ick sounds that you might hear, or any catching in my throat, or if I start to sound like a frog, but there we are. So my beverage of choice is coffee in one of my favourite cuddle it up mugs. And I hope you've got a project to work on, or 2 or 3. How many have you got? I'd love to know. I'm going to pull these out at no particular order. I'm going to try and organise them in a little notebook here to see if I can figure out, make some sense of what's going on. Let's start easy and start with the boxes I've just brought down. If you've been with me for a little while, you'll be familiar with this already. But these are my crochet blanket projects that I started later on in the summer. So these are fairly new projects, and it was started with an idea of having blankets ready for winter. I didn't say which winter. And I sorted out all my mini skeins, of which I have a lot, into different kind of colour palettes. So I've actually started 2 and I've got a 3rd waiting in the wings. So this first one is one I'm making for my husband. It is just a granny square. It's nothing more complicated than that. There is actually a tutorial here on my channel and I will link it up above and down below if I can figure out how to do that. It's been a while, so you can find it without having to trawl through all the videos. I absolutely love making granny squares. I find them so therapeutic. I always used to have one on a go, and I always used to have a little basket. It's actually that basket behind me. Always used to have a granny square project in it with some balls of yarn that I could just dip into of an evening and do a bit of crochet. And this was back when I wasn't making lots of complicated things all the time. This is before, I've always been a knitter and a crocheter, but this was before I kind of really stepped it all up. So project number 1 is my husband's crochet blanket. It's 4-ply minis, just doing clusters of trebles. And you can see the beautiful yarns. I've got to carry that one on there. Project number 2 was going to be mine, but I think this is now going to be the whoever needs a hug in a blanket situation when they come and visit. It's slightly bigger. As you can see, it's very, very bright. Again, it's 4-ply minis. I couldn't tell you what they all are. I think this middle one's Dragon Hill Studios. There's some from an Advent. This one I think is Ching Fibre, perhaps. I'm not sure. So yeah, so that's project number 2. And again, nice box of minis to work through there. And while we're on granny squares, let's talk about project number 3, which is, where's the ball of yarn gone? My Advent Granny Stripe. So it's still using the granny stitch, which is clusters of trebles if you are in the UK, doubles I think if you're in the US, or double trebles in the US. Can't quite remember. And this is a free pattern from Lucy of Attic 24. I actually started this about 5 years ago and I overestimated very, very drastically how many stitches I needed to do on my foundation row. Apologies if you've heard this before. I wanted it to cover a double bed and drape down the sides. And when you do your foundation chain, it's really difficult to see how wide it really is going to get, which I know sounds ridiculous. Once you start working into it, it seems to get bigger. So mine is now, I think, 7.5 feet wide. So it will easily drape down the sides of our now king size bed. So you can actually say it's kind of fortuitous that I've done it like that. It works out really well. And there you go. And this is using the Advent swap that I did with my friend Marcus, who is Fibre Punk. He's got a new channel here on YouTube that he is actually uploading to regularly, which brings me so much joy. It makes me so happy. And he's doing really, really well. So if you haven't gone and seen him yet, go over and check him out. He does all sorts of exciting things. He dyes the most amazing self-striping yarn. He's hands down my favourite self-striping dyer. Sorry everyone else, but he is. He weaves, he spins, and he dives down ridiculous rabbit holes with huge projects. Like he was going to try and process 7 alpaca fleeces this summer, and he's my spirit animal in fibre artist form. But there we are. So if you want some of that, plus you know his dulcet Scottish tones are also very soothing. But there we are. So he's finished his. I have not finished mine. Every so often I get it out and work on it with some gusto, and then it eventually falls by the wayside again. So, but we're doing another Advent swap this year. We took a year off last year. I think we might have taken a year off the year before as well, mostly on the premise of the fact that A, we didn't have enough minis to swap because we used scraps, and B, this. But we're doing it again this year, so here we go. So that is blanket number 3. Okay, so I can see quite a few sock project bags behind me, so I think we'll dive in with socks. This one is an inner project bag. Do I even have a blocker handy? Well, turns out they were right next to me, so that's a little bit awkward, isn't it? This is sock work in progress number 1. It is the Vervain sock from 52 Weeks of Socks book volume 1. I am part of a group 52 Weeks of Socks knit along, and the aim is to knit a different pair of socks every month. It is voted for which pattern we go for. We're given a choice of between 4 and 6, and each month every member of the group votes on which one they'd like to do, and the winner is the selected one. They've also started adding bonus socks from volume 2 because quite a few of the knitters in the group have now got volume 2 as well. So this was March's pick. We are now in November, but I have a completed sock. I absolutely have loved the process of knitting these socks. They're so beautiful. The pattern is so exciting to work. I love working from charts. It feels a little bit like completing a puzzle, as the only way I can kind of describe it. The yarn I'm using, I'll hold it this way so you can really see it, is Skein and the Stitch, or Skein and the Stitch. That's the lovely Jess. And it's her birthstone for February, which is Amethyst, that I picked up a few years ago in honour of my late daughter's birthday. My little girl, whose picture you can just about see here. She was born in February 2018 and passed away in March 2018. And if you are new to this game, this is what's known as a hoe, a half object, because it's half a pair of socks. So the next one I've got picked up from just behind me is the Dear Bjorn, which was the June, I think, make along sock for the 52 Weeks of Socks group. You can see how much I've achieved. Now, remember I mentioned that Marcus of Fibre Punk is my favourite self-striping dyer. I have a dragon tendency with this yarn. I hoard it. I sit on it. I look at it. I'm almost Gollum about it. My precious. And I don't use it, which is awful, because actually if you're buying yarn from an indie dyer, what you really need to be doing is actually enjoying it and working it and showcasing it. It is the best way to support indie dyers. But what I do is I hoard it like a golem, goblin, dragon, fiend. So there we are. So I've made a resolution, a promise to myself, that I'm actually going to start using all his beautiful yarn. There are a few skeins just sort of peeping up in my sock basket, in my yarn basket behind me as well. So this is Graynbow, which is self-striping with a difference. Again, if I turn it round, you can see it's clear stripes of rainbow colours, but the rainbow colours are actually speckly, kind of onto an almost grey background. It's really quite tricky for him to achieve, and he's done a fantastic job, and I absolutely adore how it works up with these slip stitches. I'm using West Yorkshire Spinners Dusty Miller for the toes, and I think it's just going to be the cuff, which goes absolutely beautifully. It's almost a perfect match for Marcus's own grey in here. And this is the first sock, so this is definitely not a hoe, this is more an O. But there we are. I'm absolutely really, whack myself with a rabbit. I'm really enjoying the process. I don't ever knit toe up socks. They're just not my jam at all. And you can see how it's going to look. You have that, and that's the bottom, that's the sole. Toe up socks are not something I've ever done, really. Having said that, I've got 2 pairs of toe up socks on the go. I tend to be a kind of if it ain't broke, don't fix it sort of girl. I like things that I can just reach for, pick up, get on with kind of mindlessly. I want to do new and exciting things in knitting. There are so many exciting things to do, but I kind of shy away from them. It's not I don't want to put in the effort. It's A, I'm scared of getting it wrong. B, I just want to get on a knit. I don't want to invest the time in learning something new to be able to do it. But very, very glad I have for these ones. Just reaching behind me again, I happen to have found my next toe up project, which is also not a hoe. This is again an O. And this is once again from, it's in the middle of a round. For goodness sake, Gemma, there is no hope for you. This is once again from 52 Weeks of Socks. This was not, or has not been as yet, I don't think, a make-along pattern. This one was pattern number 1 in the 52 Weeks of Socks book. I don't know how well you can see that there. And it's called Intersections. And it's cables that kind of intersect one another, I guess. I stopped, it's toe up, again, very pleased with my toe up. It's very neat, my cast on. I used Judy's Magic Cast On for toe up. I found the tutorials to be really, really good. And when you wrap your head around it, actually, it does work really nicely. I haven't done it often enough to be able to do it without sitting for ages and watching the tutorials and pattern yet, but I'm sure, like most things, when I get used to it, it'll be a tinge. And as you can see, I'm not quite up to the increases for the gusset yet. But there we are. I stopped because I actually missed a cable and it was really, really bugging me. And I didn't know whether I should drop down and fix it. There you go, it's that side. You can kind of clearly see there's a cable missing there. I didn't know if I should go down and fix it or if I should just carry on. And so I left it to one side. This is West Yorkshire Spinners Cornflower, which I absolutely love. West Yorkshire Spinners is my favourite commercial sock yarn to use. I would love to know what your favourite sock yarns are if you are a sock knitter. Are you a West Yorkshire Spinners fan? Do you prefer Felix, which apparently has come back? I have not yet used it, but I've got 2 precious balls, again, hoarded in my dragon yarn hoard. And obviously my favourite self-striping is Marcus of Fibre Punk. I'd love to know your choices. Okay, we're going to stick with the sock theme and we're going to move on to Christmas socks now. Right, so this one, Barely Even, is a, you know, it's cast on and a couple of rows of rib. When I'm knitting socks, I knit them in the round, but I always knit the first couple of rounds flat. So I knit back and forth rib before joining. I find that it ensures I don't have a twist. It's easier to seam up and make sure you don't get a little stretchy gap at the top. And yeah, so I'm about to join in the round for this one. This is West Yorkshire Spinners in the Hollyberry colourway. I've already knit my dad a pair of Christmas socks in this, so I'm not sure if I'd planned on these for being for my husband. I don't think I planned on them for my son, although, I don't know, they don't seem to be, it doesn't look like 60 stitches to me. Hang on. Oh, it shows what I know. They're a grown-up pair of socks. They barely even register, but nevertheless, there they are. Okay, my next 2 pairs I'm missing one of, but this here is my son's Christmas sock. This again is West Yorkshire Spinners, and this is vintage tinsel. I want to call it vintage tinsel. I've got 1 ball of this and I've used a sparkly green mini, and I can't remember the name of the dyer, but I picked it up years and years ago when the Summer Wool show was still called Fibre East. My first ever show I went to, I picked up these sparkly minis, and so I've used that for the toe and the cuff. So there we are, there's robins. Sticking with Christmas socks, but this time they're not particularly festive looking, they are just for Christmas. These are boot socks that I have started for my friend Jude, who was Stranded Dye Works, and he is now Rewilding Jude here on YouTube. I'm very excited because I watched his episode last night, and the socks I sent him for his birthday, I saw him just wearing them as he was popping his boots on by the kitchen door, which just, it's so lovely when your knits are made. And I have managed first time, and it was his Christmas socks last year, I've managed first time to get his sock recipe absolutely perfect for him. And so I know they're the perfect fit, which is great. This is my first time using Regia 6-ply. Oh, I could use a sock blocker. I'm going to use my big one, my new big one that's the size of my head. So here we go. These are boot socks. So it's Regia 6-ply tweed. I'm using the natural colourway. I don't know what number it is. I've lost the ball band. They've only got a few colours in the tweed range, and it's pretty obvious which one the cream one is, so I'm sure you can figure it out. I've done a 3x1 rib. I was initially doing it the other way round, so if I turn the cuff down, I've deliberately done a really long leg because I want him to be able to have cuffs up or cuffs down. So I was originally doing a 3x1 rib. But when I was knitting on this previously, I sent Jude a picture and I said to him, do you like the inside or the outside better? And he actually likes the outside better. So I've swapped it around. So I'm now purling 3, knitting 1 to do that. I've also done a new heel type. I've done the Eye of Partridge Heel. It's still a heel flap and gusset, but rather than doing slip 1, knit 1, and then purl all the way back and then slip 1, knit 1, so you end up with a kind of ribbed, I don't know why I'm doing that. Look, I can show you on this sock. You can see what I mean? It looks almost like a rib, but obviously you've got the slip stitches. Now the slip stitches reinforce the heel a little bit, which is, the back of the heel is kind of a really hard wearing part of your sock. So if you want them to last, I find the slip stitch heel flap and gusset to be the best. So what I've done this time, it does look very short. I wonder if I've actually done it long enough or missed a few. we'll find out, is the Eye of Partridge, where you offset it. So you start off with, and I've got a free tutorial from Interweave website. I'll try and put the link below for you. And the first row you do as normal, slip one, knit one to the end, and then slip one, purl to the end. Then the next row, so row 3, you slip 2, and then knit one, slip one, knit one, slip one to the end. So you're offsetting those slip stitches. And in theory, it should make it a little more hard wearing. And because these are designed to be boot socks, I want to make sure they last. So I'm not 100% sure I've got his recipe right for this yet. I've tried them on and I have cows rather than calves, so I think he should be okay. Not that I'm casting assertions about his calves, but I was slightly concerned that they looked quite narrow for any human. But if they fit me, then they should fit him absolutely fine. I think I definitely need to do a bigger heel flap next time. Yeah. So anyway, I'm just finished the decreasing for the gusset and I'm working down the foot. And yeah, pretty much this will fit the blocker exactly. So there we are. Oh, I should just say, because this is the only one pretty much living in a project bag, that this is the Emma Ball wrist bag. It's the small size and I find that to be perfect for sock knitting. I do a lot of sock knitting on the go. So when we're walking into the nearest village or a town, I don't think St Mary Church really counts as a town, but it's like a village precinct. So yeah, so when we're walking up there, when we're going on long dog walks, I use this. When we're out and about visiting, I use wrist bags. And this one is by Emma Ball and it is from the Yarn Dispensary. And the Yarn Dispensary in Kent, they do ship out, and they've just taken delivery of a whole new range of Emma Ball stock ready for Christmas. So in the next one, this is in a sock sack by Bellaka Yarns. I picked this up because my son kept stealing my wrist bag. And so I bought him this one, which he loved and carried around religiously for, I'm going to damage myself in a minute, which he carried around religiously for a while, but I have managed to winkle it back from him. And this is by Bellaka Yarns. And this is, I think I've got a hoe in here again, haven't I? I think this is a hoe. And this is for my dad. So this is going to be his Christmas sock. Where are we? This is his Christmas pair of socks. They're not particularly festive, but I know he won't like the glittery ones. So there we are on the new sock blockers that fit my dad's feet. And this is, again, West Yorkshire Spinners Pheasant colourway. I've just used the yarn the whole way through. I actually really like the way it works on the heel flap. It's just a slip stitch heel flap and gusset as usual, but I really like the bolder stripes. It does look very different, doesn't it? And so that again is a hoe. Dad's pheasant socks. Now it is perfectly feasible that I am going to run into some more sock projects as we go. I know I've got some half objects upstairs actually in my sock box for Robin. I think there's definitely the blue tick colourway, although I can't find the yarn for that. So he's definitely got at least one more half sock. So yeah, and I may well run into more socks behind me here, but I'm just going to start grabbing bags now and going through because I now have no idea what's going on. Right, this one is a very special one. It is, and I believe I'm doing the 11 to 12 age size, which means I might get away with it still. This one is, it just seems to be straight up and down. The Hopscotch hoodie from West Yorkshire Spinners. I started this for my nephew back when he was about to turn 6 because he loved the top I made him when he was 5 and he is now 9. So I've got to measure it and check, but somewhere in my notes I've got that I'm doing the 11 to 12 year size, and if I am, then that's fantastic because I can finish this off and send it to him. So it's West Yorkshire Spinners in the Dusty Miller colourway. And this is it West Yorkshire Spinners or Colour Lab? No, beg your pardon. It's Colour Lab DK in silver grey, and the self-striping is Prism Bright. So it's a DK weight, and it's the hopscotch pattern from West Yorkshire Spinners book Colour Lab Kids. So yeah, I started this so long ago. I really need to finish it. I think that might well be the 11 to 12 size. Looking at it, it's very long, isn't it? It's as long as longer than my arm span. So yeah, I'll try and put a picture up of what it's meant to look like here. And I have so far done a few inches of the rib of the front, and that's as far as I've got. So I do need to get cracking on that. What I need to do, as I say, is I need to measure it, check which size it is, and if it's the 11 to 12, I can finish it. If it's not, I either have to frog it or see if one of my godchildren would like it instead. I will knit for my nephew again if this doesn't fit, but there we are. I absolutely love it. It's a really clever slip stitch pattern. So you carry these slips up over. There you go. So every few rows you stripe in the silver grey, and over the front you slip and carry them up to the next one. This is living in a very special project bag. This was the Yarn Dispensary's 5th birthday bag that was created by Marna Gilligan and Caitin Beag, which I've probably butchered the pronunciation of, sorry Marna, who did her screen print of the Yarn Dispensary with cats. So that's how long ago I started it, because I think they've just celebrated their 9th birthday this year. Okie doke, what's in this one? Oh, this one has a label. Look, these are from Stationery Geek, and I was an associate, an affiliate member. I was a brand ambassador for them, but then I stopped. I did stop podcasting for about a year. And so I obviously stopped being a brand ambassador, and I need to find out if I can get back in touch with them and carry on doing that. This is in a bag by Gemma of the Little Grey Girl. She does the most beautiful project bags and yarns inspired by the fabrics. I absolutely love them. And in here, oh, another sock. That's a surprise. Okay, we've got another sock. So this is the J sock by Winwick mum, Christine Perry, in the J colourway from British Birds. I started this last year. When did I start this? Oh, I've obviously got the J mini sock to finish as well somewhere then. I have to get that back from the shop. I started it as a pattern sock, but I don't think it shows up very well in the patterned yarn. I don't understand why they get her to do these most beautiful patterns, but they just, in my opinion, don't show up at all. I'm going to do this. I was doing it as a sample. It's not one I want for myself. I am going to do it to show what it's like, but I would love to see this pattern in a plain yarn and see how beautiful it really is. So there you go, another sock, a J sock. This one might hit the frog pond. It's been over a year and I haven't touched it. I am not enjoying it, and I don't think I have the pattern anymore. Let me know, finish or frog. Okay, this one, again, is not up for frogging. This is the cabled baby sweater. As you can see, I've got really far on this. I've actually already completed one of these for my niece, and my best friend from high school recently welcomed another baby girl as well. They're both summer babies, so I was knitting for winter, so 6 to 12 month size. So I haven't sent anything down yet. So I've got one finished. I think that one was actually for my school friend, and then my sister-in-law saw it and she said she'd really like one for her new baby girl. So I'm at the stage where I've just set up for all the cables, and if I put a picture up you can see what I mean. There's beautiful cables down the shoulders and down the front, and you start off by jingling like Santa's sleigh with all these stitch markers. The yarn I'm using is Stylecraft Love You. I picked this up on sale from Banbury's in Bideford in North Devon. They are a client of mine for Search Press. I represent Search Press books for arts and crafts books and galleries in the southwest. So I quite often pick up some yarn on my travels, and I had to buy another one which I got from Wells Knitting Centre because I knew I wouldn't have enough for both. And what I'm doing with the swatches and the leftovers is I'm actually turning them into little baby washcloths, which I'll put in the package as well, because they're cotton and they're really nice. I've also just remembered, as well as the blue tit sock, I've also got my Blue Lagoon sock on the go. So I need to find the yarn and create its partner. So that takes me so far, are you ready for this? Up to 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 sock works in progress. Think I might have a bit of a problem. And I've knit a lot of socks this year as well. I think I've completed something like 15 pairs already. So yeah. Right, okay, I think this one's for the frog pond actually. I think I can say that really clearly. This was a very special, this is in a bag by Vervain's Bags. And her logo is Traveller Through the Days. I absolutely love this pattern. You can see the project hanging off the bottom. This is Stranded Dye Works 4-ply in Yesterday's Bouquet. It's a beautiful, beautiful grey and rainbow colourway. And I bought this to cast on the Playdate cardigan for a very, very special little girl who was born to a friend of mine who I actually met when she came into the shop wanting help with her wedding dress that she'd knitted. And she and her wife have gone on to welcome a lovely little girl. And when they shared their pregnancy, I really wanted to knit something for her. Unfortunately, I thought to myself, I cast it on in the summer. She wasn't due until January. So I made the mistake of thinking, I've got ages, this will be fine. And left it, completely left it to the wayside. So I think this one might have to be frogged, just because I think I've probably done the 3 to 6 month size and she's 10 months now, I think. Don't know if I will get a 12 to 18 months out of one skein of yarn. It's possible that I might have to find a different yarn to do the bands perhaps. Maybe I can use some Dusty Miller in the 4-ply for that, maybe, potentially, and get it finished for her birthday next year. I know she's very, very knit worthy and her mummies would appreciate it, and I did really want to do it for her. It's just one of those things. So at the moment that's hitting the frog pond, but that is the Playdate cardigan by Tin Can Knits in Stranded Dye Works Yesterday's Bouquet. Okay, this one is a finish, definitely. I am so, so close to having this finished. It is living in my Midnight Diary, you can just about see, Midnight Diary drawstring, what I've called my patch bag, which was done with the idea of sewing on patches from Eris Apollon that lots of us were collecting during COVID and lockdown. This is using my hand-dyed yarns in, what's that? Weird. I think it's in neutral tones and oxide, and it's the Moira Rose Shawl by Jackie Badger, who is the creative genius behind the courses such as Knits to Fit Your Tits. It was a test knit. I didn't finish it. I'm rubbish at test knits. I need to stop doing test knits, and I have stopped doing test knits. As you can see, it's an absolutely beautiful shawl. I'm just finished fading in the oxide, and I'm really, really close to having it finished. And my plan is to get this finished and actually give it to my grandma as a Christmas present. I think she might like it. She wears a lot of dual tones, so this is a neutral that I think will go with everything. She looks fantastic in dual tones, and she's got white hair. She's had white hair since before I was born. She went white very, very early on. I don't know if that meant I think she was a brunette. I don't think she was blonde. I don't have to ask her, I never knew. But anyway, she had white hair since before I was born. And I think this will go really nicely. And it'll be a nice size. It's also Moira Rose, and roses. She always had the most beautiful roses in her garden when I was a little girl, and I used to go and collect the rose petals off the grass for her. It's just a way of keeping me occupied, I think, as I was toddling around. And her best friend, Moira, from Scotland, actually passed away a few years ago. So when I saw this was the Moira Rose shawl, I knew I had to make it. I don't know if I'll get this finished for Christmas. Her birthday is in February, and I think that might be a better goal. But the Moira Rose, as you can see here, is definitely continuing. I'm not doing too badly so far. I've got 2 things to frog. Okay, now this is a very special project indeed. I started this at the Perth Festival of Yarn 2018. I took a shawl class by Beardy Cheel on shawl design, and I started designing a shawl, and this hasn't moved since 2018. And it's in the Brat colourway by Dye Candy. I believe she's changed her ball bands now. And it's her Super Sock, which is a high twist 75-25 merino nylon. And I decided to do this as a design to honour my daughter. But I didn't actually get any further than this. So I've never frogged it. And I'm not, do you know what? I'm not going to frog it, because I do believe I will do this. And I think maybe when the decks are cleared a bit more and I can work on it quietly for a while, maybe around her anniversary next year, maybe between February and March next year, I will get this out and try and finish it. I've got the sketches still. I know exactly what I want to achieve. I just need to figure out how to achieve it. Yeah. And this is a hack of the Felix and Rosa. So the Felix is a sweater that I think every man, his dog and his iguana has done. And the Rosa is a cardigan by Longavec Anna. I did some fairly complicated workings out to figure out how I should do this V-neck sweater. I can't model it very well. It's on too short a cable. It's on this really beautiful yarn called Sublime Evie, which I was told not to buy because I was told it would wash me out, but I don't care. I love it. It's a beautiful baby blue. It's very, very soft. It is 115 meters per 50 grams. And it is, what's the composition? 94% cotton, 6% nylon, but it is so, so soft. So again, I have no idea where I am with this pattern. I might just have to give up and do the Felix, but I wanted the Rosa, if that makes sense. So it's top down, and I've got the shoulders here, and I'm increasing for the V-neck. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that one yet. I do definitely really want the sweater, but I think what I should have done is carried on with it at the time when I had the knowledge of where I was with it. What do you think I should do with that one? Should I frog it and turn it into something else, or should I try and figure out where on earth I am and carry on? I'm gradually getting more space behind me, which is quite exciting. So this one, oh, this is interesting. So this is going to have to be frogged because it's far too small. I know that much already. So that's fine. I've made my peace with this. This is going to have to be frogged. So this is the Flax Light by Tin Can Knits. And I've got, this isn't Dusty Miller. What's this one? And it's not, is it Poppy Seed? It might be Poppy Seed. I don't have the armband here, but again, it's West Yorkshire Spinners. And what I was doing was I was planning on doing it with Fibre Punk's 3 Cheers for 7 years for my son. What I might do is actually do this one for me. I'm going to frog it. This is the custom colourway that Marcus dyed for the yarn shop that I used to run, the Yarn Dispensary. If you're wondering why I'm mentioning the Yarn Dispensary so much, I worked there for 4 years. I had the great, great pleasure of running that place for the owners for 4 years. It was such a privilege. It was wonderful. It's all got tangled, look. And he designed a 7-striper for 7 years. So 7 stripes to mark 7 years of the Yarn Dispensary being open. And I bought a skein. I could only buy one because it was only my budget to buy one. And also it wouldn't have been fair to buy more than one when everyone was when everyone was so excited about the yarn. We did pre-orders and we did some to sell, and the whole lot went, the whole lot. It was a really, really fantastic colourway for us and for Marcus. So yeah, what I wanted to do was do something more than socks where it would really be shown off and could be treasured. And at the time I'd thought about doing the Flax Light for my son. And I cast it on. I wasn't entirely sure how I was going to bring the colour work in, whether I should use the Strange Brew pattern from Tin Can Knits to create my own kind of colour work design for it, which, thinking about it, could have been really cute. But I was a little bit nervous of colour work by that point, so I was just going to have it in the yoke, I think, as bands down the sleeves and a bit on the body. But actually, knowing that my son has well and truly grown out of this, because this was when he was a tiny baby, and there is no way well, it might go over his head, but I think it'll be way too small now. I think this has to be frogged, and the yarn repurposed for something else, but I would love to know what you think I should do with it. Marcus, I know you watched this, my darling. Do you think I should put this in a jumper for me? Do you think it would work if I did a strange brew pattern perhaps, and did a colourwork yoke for it? What do you think? Viewers, what do you think? Tell me, please, what I should do with this. So that one is hitting the frog pond because I know I'm not doing that. Okay, 40 minutes in, I can see daylight behind me. Right, let's talk about this one next. This is another sweater project. I started this last summer, hoping to do it for winter, for the Yarn Dispensary's window, and then getting it back eventually for Robin's Christmas sweater. However, didn't do it, moving, change of life, change of circumstances, and also I needed some time to just separate myself a bit from the shop. It's a little bit like a bereavement leaving that place. It was my whole life for 4 years. I lived, ate, breathed, slept that shop. I would dream about it. It was 24/7. It was my absolute passion project, and I so loved every moment, almost every moment. But when I moved, because I was leaving that behind, and if you'd asked me, do I really want to leave running the yarn shop? No, of course I don't. I absolutely loved it. I knew it was right. I knew it was right for me, for my family, and for the shop in the long run. But it doesn't mean I wanted to do it. I wasn't sad about leaving it. So I needed, for my own sanity, I think, a bit of a break, a bit of a cut off to kind of mourn it and see what my life could be like on the other side. And so I left it. And I've actually just picked this up again this week. And it is the Dog Star pattern by Tin Can Knits. You'll see a lot of Tin Can Knits going on here. They're fantastic patterns. I absolutely love them. And I'm doing the child size. And I've just checked. I think I was doing 2 to 4 because I was going to give it to the shop for last Christmas, this Christmas, and then have it back 2025 for Robin, so you get a year's wear out of it. However, that didn't happen. So I've checked my stitch count, and it's not too late for me to turn it into the 4 to 6 year size. So the shop can still have it this year, next year, possibly the year after, and Robin will still get some wear out of it for the final year. So there we are. So I picked this up last night. I've had a bit of a self-care weekend where I've not done anything. I've not really been on social media. I've not been vlogging. I'm just exhausted. And so I picked this up and I've almost finished the first sleeve. Now in the children's sizes, you don't actually have colour work on the cuffs. If you look at the little girl modelling it at the front, you can see there's no colour work at the cuffs or the bottom. But because it's bottom up, I wanted to show off the colour. If you look at the schematic there, you can see in the adult sizes colour work at the bottom, the cuffs and the top. So I wanted to change it to allow for some colour work for the kiddies sizes. I'm just trying to see if there's not another picture in here, I don't think, of an adult wearing it. No. So I've I've adjusted it for that, and I think it looks really cute. The yarn I'm using is, oh, it's so soft. It's a Rowan, it's a Merino. Beyond that, I couldn't tell you, can't remember. But the undyed is super duper special. It's from Heart's Delight Farm, which is a single flock yarn near us in Canterbury, or where it was near us, raised on wildflower meadows, pure Romney wool. And it is an absolute delight. I've done a few projects like this. I've done the Artemis hat by Penny Baker Knits, and I've done the line dried mini me by Sue Stratford, and both of those live at the Yarn Dispensary. So this was my third project in that yarn. I cannot get enough of it. I've got no idea if they've run out, if they're restocking, what's going on at the shop. I hope they're restocking because I'm working on this sweater. If not, I'll have it. And it's an absolute delight to work with. It's a snuggly cardigan for my niece in 4-ply yarn. And I think I've only got as far as the cast on and a bit of the picot edge so far. So I can tell you now, I'm going to frog that and restart it in the next size up. Or was I doing 6 to 12 months still? I might have still be doing 6 to 12 months, I don't know. And I'm using Sirdar Snuggly 4-ply in this beautiful kind of brambly rose colour. and it's for one of the baby girls that was coming this year. 0 to 6 months. Well, that's absolutely no good whatsoever, because the baby is 3 months old already. So that's no good. 6 months will be Christmas. Absolutely no good. So I'm frogging that now, and I've just got to decide whether I'm going to recast it on as a Christmas present or not. So that's a frog and an empty project bag, which is exciting. Okay, in this giant bag, there's only going to be one project, I think. It's just the bag I was using for Stitch Fest Southwest. Yeah, right. So this is a new cast on, because I need those like I need a hole in the head. And this is the flax worsted, which I am doing for my husband's grandma. So she's been admiring Robin's flax sweaters, particularly his red one. And I have not got the money to buy all the yarn I would need to do it in the same yarn for her as he's got, which is the Rowan Superwash Pure Wool Merino. It's like £10-11 a ball, and I've not got the money for that. But what I do have is Debbie Bliss Falkland Merino Aran, which is super soft in stash, and when I bought it on sale when we were getting rid of it from the yarn dispensary. That is not being frogged, but I might move into this project bag, which is from the House of Langford, I think. I'm pretty sure Maddie of House of Langford made this one. Yes, I can see her label, and sent it to me as a gift because she's gorgeous. And there we are. I definitely can't cast anything new on for winter, can I, at this rate? Because I've got so many things on the go that if I want these finished by Christmas, and I want a lot of them finished by Christmas, which is now only 6 weeks away, I'm basically going to have to spend every living waking moment knitting and crocheting and trying to get all these done. It could be a fun challenge. It could be a really fun challenge. This one is another Vervain's bags bag that I absolutely love. And it is, this is a throwback. This is definitely going to have to be frogged and reknit. It is the Sibling Sweater by Penrose Knits, which I bought the weekend it came out to cast on. I'm doing it in Bo Peep Pure, which it was a new yarn line that came out. Have I already frogged it? Where is it? Oh no, it's there. That's all I'd done. In a cream and a blue. It's absolutely beautiful, but I'd done it wrong somewhere. I'd done the neckline wrong. I put the wrong colour first, but also the back of it isn't quite right. Where I've done the shoulder, it looks right on the front, but it doesn't look right on the back. And I just left it for ages because I wasn't sure. I really wasn't sure whether I wanted to carry it on or if I needed to rip back. And so that's been a year now that I've left that. So this is Bo Peep Pure, which is 100% Falkland Merino wool in sand and the blue colourway, which I can't remember the name of it. I've got all the gear in here as well. All the gear, no idea. I can't remember what size I'm doing because I didn't circle it on the pattern, because I am a horrible, horrible maker who doesn't do that sort of thing. Let me have a look and see how many I cast on. 3 to 4 years. If I'm doing 3 to 4 years, I can totally do this. It will still fit him. Okay, right. Be honest with me, guys. Should I frog this and reknit it in the big size? Or should I just go with it? Because it's the 3 to 4 year size I'm doing. And he's just turned 3. So do I frog it? Or do I try and carry it on for him and get it done? Am I likely to get it done? I've got these other things to do by Christmas. Am I likely to get this done this side of Christmas? No. So would I be better off frogging it and recasting it on with a little bit more yarn, a few more stitches to do the next size up? Let's see. So the ages are 2 to 3 and 3 to 4. I've cast, and it's the same cast on for 2 to 3 and 3 to 4. So it could be, I could easily be the 3 to 4 size. But then 5 to 6 and 6 to 7 are also the same cast on, 36 stitches. So for the little amount I've done, is it worth me pulling it back and recasting on in the 5 to 6? What do you think? Finish, frog and recast on in a bigger size. let me know. That's a sibling sweater. Finished frog, free cast on a different size. Gosh, I've been going for an hour now and we're not done. Oh, okay. Oh no, there is a project in here. I didn't think for a moment, I didn't think there was a project in here, but there is. Right, so this is Skein Queen merino silk yak in a beautiful blue and a skein of my oxide colourway. I'm obviously planning on putting these together for something. In fact, I know what I'm planning on putting these together for. It's meant to be a present. Obviously won't be for this Christmas, but it's not a project, so that doesn't count. But what is in here, and is this another Vervain's bags bag? Or did I buy this from somewhere else? Jibby Rousseau's this one with a matching Notions pouch, Peter Rabbit. And this is a crochet project from Bonnie the Cow and Friends crochet book, pattern book. And it is actually a sheep. It's a ram, and that's as far as I've got with my ram, which was meant to be for my son. Do I finish it or do I frog it? Let me know. Okay, this project bag was a gift from a friend and I've already frogged it. It's not even started, so I'm just gonna ignore that. Oh, this is pretty. Right, hold on. I need a comfort break. Why don't you go and get another cuppa? Oh, so in coming back from my comfort break, I've just spotted my yarn bowl with another project in. Whoops. This is another little grey girl project bag, which I absolutely love. And in here is a project that I had to stop when I got COVID. So this is 2021 into 2022. I got COVID. And although I was fairly lucky in the sense that I wasn't left with any issues, I did then become very, very sensitive to mohair. And I was working an entire mohair project for the yarn dispensary. I would love to have bought it myself to wear. I think it's gorgeous, but it's beyond my budget. And now it's already making my breathing go funny, so I'm not going to have this out for long. And now I don't think I could wear it anyway because of what it's doing to my chest. Oh, goodness me, I'm really out of breath. I'm going to have to stop this soon because I've got to go to the doctor's. But this is the, is it okay? It's not been nibbled, has it? No, loose stitch. This is the Soho blouse by Cadre. I'll put a picture up of it, and I'm doing it in Rowan Kid Silk Haze. I adore this project. I love the faux seams, which are achieved with slip stitches. It's just the most beautiful sweater. See if I can arrange it over me somehow so you can get an idea of it. So those are the shoulder caps there. And that comes down the front like that. It's so, so beautiful. And I would give anything to finish this and also have it to wear. I love this so much. I want to finish it. I'm loving the knitting. I'm loving the construction. But I've been afraid to because of what it's doing to my chest. I can already feel my chest tightening because of the fibres. So I could wear a mask and finish it. I could send it back and say, look, I'm really sorry, guys. I've had this yarn for 2 years. I don't even know if you stock it anymore because I'm that rubbish. I don't know. I don't know. I think this is going on the maybe pile. The next one is the Chime Baby Cardigan. I have almost finished this. I'm doing it in Rowan Summerlight DK. It is by Martin Story in the Rowan Bloom book, I think book 2. This is a gift for my friend's grandson who turned 3 on the same day as a Robin. I'm having to self-grade it because the pattern only goes up to 12 months. So I need to, or was it 1 to 2 years? I think it might be 12 months. So I've had to grade it myself. But it's nearly finished, and that one's definitely being finished. Right, this is a long-term WiP for the yarn dispensary. My colleague started it, but then they stopped working there, and this was obviously how far they got. It is in Elements DK by West Yorkshire Spinners, and it is a beautiful long line cardigan. I took it, I discussed it with the owner of the shop before I stopped working there, and I said, shall I take it and try and finish it? And she was happy for me. She was happy for me to do that. I said, I don't know when I'll get to it, but hopefully at some point. So this is probably a project for spring that I do want to finish up. And this is in a very old project bag of mine. that one of the first ones I ever made back when I had no idea about size and scale. Okay, so nearly there. This one, I don't have the main body to show you. It is in another bag somewhere else. It is one of my project bags, again with little Scotty dogs, and this is the Architecture Sweater by Emma Vinning, and I'm doing it in this beautiful, gorgeous yarn. It's an ombre self-stripe called the Croft Wild from West Yorkshire Spinners. It's part of their Shetland range. I will put a picture of the sweater as it's meant to look. I have done the back so far and cast on the front on the wrong size needles. So again, do want to finish this. This one is for me. The front has served its purpose as a sample in the shop, so that's fine. But again, that might be a spring project, or do I frog it? I don't know. I want to knit cables. This is the Driftwood sock by Mina Phillip, the Knitting Expat. I told you I'd find another sock, didn't I? Here's the pattern here. It's from her Beyond Vanilla collection, volume 1, I think, because it's the 4th pattern. There are 8 in total, I think. Mina will correct me if I'm wrong. I know she will. She's very good like that. And yeah, I started this at Yarningham in July so that I was knitting one of Mina's patterns on the stand. But there we are. So that is the Driftwood sock, and I'm using Socks Yeah 4-ply. The last sock one I've got to show you is a design that I'm doing. It's called Into the Moss Socks, I think, or Moss something socks. I can't remember what I was calling it. But they're for my husband in stranded dye wax, and they are a design by me. Whether or not I'm going to actually get this published, I don't know, but that's another long-term sock or whip. This is the one I just found, which is the Bamba Shawl by Maddie Harvey. It is so close to being finished, I can't even tell you. I'm very, very nearly on the decrease section now. I'm using Isaiah Silk Mohair and Isaiah Alpaca 1, and I'm doing it with Vivacious 4-ply, and I believe it's in the Plum Imps colourway. It's absolutely beautiful with slip stitch. It's by Maddie Harvey. She's a fantastic designer. Go and follow her if you're not already. And have a go at knitting this shawl. It's really lovely. The colours I've used, it looks a little bit like rhubarb and custard. I started this one back in 2019, and I am not willing to admit defeat on it yet. There is nothing wrong with the pattern. There's nothing wrong with the yarn. There is a lot wrong with me. So this is by Mina Phillip, the Knitting Expat. As you can see, it's absolutely beautiful. Partly the pattern, partly my yarn. So this is Afternoons, which is a colourway from my Poets collection. So Philip Larkin, I dyed this after the poem Afternoons, and Undyed, which, and you see this, you've got the garter section, the textured slip stitch section here, and the final colour, which I will start shortly, is Under the Sea, or Song of the Sea. Song of the Sea. Now this was actually frogged from a previous project that I did. That was I think the Alice cardigan by Anakin Alice, or the Tilly cardigan by Anakin Alice. So that was a project that I started years ago, and I actually frogged, and I've repurposed the yarn for that. There are kits available in my yarn for this pattern. I'll put a picture up of the Snow Day shawl as well. Excuse the light, we're now after lunch. Robin's gone down for his nap. I've had a bit of a nap as well, and we're just finishing off. So yeah, I will be putting those on my Instagram. We are so nearly there now with projects. There's another one that's about to hit the frog pond, and that is this one. This is a crochet ghost. I was making it for my son for his birthday, and the yarn is from That Crafty Stitch. It's a chenille yarn, and I didn't finish it because I started with the body, and I was supposed to start with the arms and then join the arms into the body, and I didn't read the instructions properly, so I needed to wind off some yarn and start again, and I just didn't, which makes me feel a bit silly. I could probably finish this one, but I don't know when I'm going to finish it. Halloween is gone, and although my son loves ghosts, I think I'd rather keep the yarn pristine and use it for next year. and put it away for next year. So it's not an urgent thing, and I'm just wondering if it might be better for me to frog this for now and restart next year, perhaps. We shall see. Let me know. Do I frog the ghost? Does the ghost get the boot, as it were? Right, so I think there's only 2 projects left now. Okay, so kneeling up. The first one is very, very nearly finished. It looks so cute. I've been showing it for a few weeks now on the podcast, but it's just been squares or granny squares. But now it's actually starting to come together because I've got the first sleeve in and sewn up. And I've got the little border on it, and the neck hole is there, and I'm about to insert the second sleeve, and then it's just the bottom border, and I can send that off to the yarn dispensary. I wonder if my head will go through this. Yes it will. Glasses off. Oh, I'm not going to get my arm in it though, in the sleeve, because I'm much bigger than the first size of this pattern. But actually, I really love it. I could easily see myself making one for me in the future at some point. That is very, very nearly finished. I've just got to put the other sleeve in, which I might do this afternoon, seam the sides and do the border at the bottom. So I think I might try and do that this afternoon. I am waiting on some more yarn to come from the yarn dispensary for that one. Some more of the oyster shell, but you know, I'll do what I can with what I've got. Right, the last one, is it just one in here? Yeah, here's the last project. The last project in here is the Thomas the Tank Engine sweater that I was doing for my son. I'm not sure which size I'm doing, so I am actually doing the first size, which is a 26-inch chest. But I think that looks quite big to me. I think it will fit him. So I might carry on. I either need to frog it now. So my son is already 3, and I'm not sure what his chest size is. Let's see. 2 to 3. Right, 3 to 4 years is a 26-inch chest. So actually that would still work. So I think that should be all right, but I will have to get a wriggle on and get it done. So do I frog this back and start the Thomas jumper in a bigger size? He has just been given a Thomas jumper by my grandma for his birthday, and I've also just finished 2 sweaters and a vest for him. So what do you think? Should I frog the Thomas sweater? And I'll show you the picture actually. So it's from this, and I didn't realise I was buying a naughty printout. I thought I was buying the actual pattern. So I've kind of fallen foul of that in on Etsy. But that's the pattern I'm doing, that one there. So do I frog it and do it as a bigger size, or do I carry on? It's going to finish at a 26-inch chest, and a 3 to 4 year old is going to should be a 23-inch chest. What do you think? I think it'll be okay. Yeah, maybe it'll be okay. So according to my list, I'm sitting in a pile of works in progress here, but I'm determined to lose this. Oh, there we go, that's a bit better. The sun's not in my eyes anymore. So according to this list, and these are just the projects I've found, there could be some more floating around, and this is only knitting and crochet. This is not including sewing or cross stitch or anything like that. I've got to count again. 35 works in progress. So it's by no means the worst I've had, but it's not the best either. So I am, of those 35, I have definitely frogged, and already frogged them during lunch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've already frogged 5, which takes me down to 30. I'm considering frogging the crochet ghost, and I'm considering frogging the Filosa, what I've called the Filosa sweater, the Felix Rosa combined, so I can't remember where I am with that. And I'm considering frogging the Thomas jumper and reknitting it in a bigger size. The sibling cardie as well, I think I either need to frog it and do it next year, or I need to get a wriggle on and finish it. So I would love to know what you think. Hello, it's Editing Gemma here. I'm just going through my Instagram to find a photo of a project for the edit, and I've seen a picture and realised I've missed a work in progress of. In fact, I've missed two. So one is little reindeer booties. I've only got the cuffs, there's nothing to show there. And the second is this one, which is a UK Hand Knitters Association pattern, which I'm working in West Yorkshire Spinners the Croft DK in the yellow. I can't remember the name of that colourway. Yeah, so that's two more to add to the list. I told you it would be a wild ride. I'm going to go and put my pyjamas on now, as instructed by the doctor, get some honey and lemon for my throat, and curl up on the sofa with a project. I think I'm going to take the crocheted sweater because I think that's my nearest finish. But yeah, what are you working on? Can I just ask as well that we keep this a judgment-free zone? Occasionally when I share how many works in progress I've got, I get really negative comments. Now, I'm totally fine with people having different ideas about how they like to craft. Not the way I do it isn't for everybody. Some people like one thing at a time. Some people only like maximum of 3 things at a time. But I don't judge anyone else for how they craft, and I would ask that you don't come into my space and judge me. I'm quite happy to have a conversation. It's nice to know what you like to do and don't like to do, but can we keep the negativity out of it, please? Because that's the reason I don't do these videos very often. I want to share all the things that have caught my eye and that I'm interested in and make me happy, and all the inspiration that I've gathered and that set me off on down these crafty rabbit holes. But what I don't like is when people go, oh, I couldn't do that, the way you do it stresses me out, you should do this, you should do that. I've spoken about it before. With my crafting, my makes are a bit like a menu. I wouldn't want to eat the same thing every night for a week. Some nights I'm in the mood for something nice and easy. I might chuck a pizza in the oven. Other days I'm feeling a little bit extra. I might cook a full roast. Today I'm meant to be doing a ham pie with the leftover ham that I slow cooked yesterday. But honestly, I don't know if I can stand up and make the pastry. So we shall see. And it's the same with my making. Sometimes I just want a vanilla sock. Sometimes I want the comfort of a crochet granny square. Sometimes I just want the dopamine hit, I think is the way it's being described these days, of a new cast on. So yeah. So I'd love to know what you're making and how you make in the comments, but please let's be respectful of other people's choices. This is a happy space. Take care, and I will see you next time. Bye.